I just saw a new article. It may bump the video I was going to release earlier today because it's always interesting to see predictions play out exactly as you expected. And we covered yesterday the Jessica Price firing from Guildwars after, well, ArenaNet, I guess technically, after attacking the fans. And if you want to commemorate her firing, an artist parody t-shirt now exists that helps support the channel. Get woke, go broke. Sale, I'm only going to sell it for, what, 8 days, 10 days? That's it. I'm not going to list it back up. It's a one-time commemorative reminder to those who want to get woke and attack the fans. And then, well, we know what happens to them. Nonetheless, I predicted in yesterday's video, which I will link in the description below, that the spin would begin, and certainly has. The outrage mob of people that probably never played ArenaNet or purchased Guild Wars 2, have spent any money inside of Guild Wars 2, are now totally boycotting ArenaNet and Guild Wars because, you know, reasons. And we saw the disingenuous scumbag games journalists now trying to spin the story that ArenaNet has sent these poor, innocent, good boy and good girl to the wolves. And it's interesting, now that you've all seen it, if you haven't seen the video, make sure maybe you want to pause this one, like it while it's paused, then go watch that video because I go through all of the tweets that led up to it. I'll give a brief review right now, but I want to cover the spin. That's more interesting. We have, leading up to her firing, all sorts of hilarious jokes. Today, in being a female game dev, allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain to you how you do your job. And this was a well-loved Guild Wars content creator whom she then told me, thanks for trying to tell me what we do internally, my dude. And got fired. The critique was very, very, allow me to disagree slightly. Disagreed in the most polite way possible, gets blown up by her. And of course, dude, we still got people outraged that I'm not interested in talking to them on my personal Twitter on a federal holiday. Go to a BBQ or something. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny how these people use their Twitter to build their platform, right? They put where they work. And this is an interesting thing that I've seen this social justice warriors saying now. They use where they work to get their blue check mark, to get their followers. Nobody cares. Very few people care what Jessica Price has to say outside of games development. This is not, if this were a personal Twitter, you wouldn't put where you work in it. You wouldn't say, might say that this is my personal Twitter. I don't talk about work. The other person who got fired, Peter Fries, again, these are our private social media accounts. Imagine you're an astronomer and you start sharing some things you've learned in the past few months since you began research Project Observing Saturn, only to have observation techniques explained to you by a layman. First of all, they have no idea the skill of the person who shared the lightest of feedback. Again, this is quite frankly embarrassing. Twitter is not a private site, and Guild Wars 2 is very much a public game. It's important. If an employee is going to share insight about a portion of the game people find lacking, passionate players are going to respond. Again, you don't have to list where you work. I know this. They do this at Marvel. They do this at Magic the Gathering. I see people with like 2,000 followers verified. That means they had to go and apply for their verification and make the case that they work at this company. This is all about ego. So it's not your personal Twitter. You use the back of where you work to get your followers. Therefore, they are commingled. This is why companies like DC Comics have a social media policy. But let's go to see how Rock, Paper, Shotgun decided to spin this article to turn both of these horrible humans into the victims. ArenaNet throw 2 Guild Wars 2 writers to the wolves. ArenaNet have fired 2 Guild Wars 2 writers for tweets they made in the past week. In doing so, they've thrown their lot in with the players and the harassers who make unreasonable demands on game developers. Good work, ArenaNet. Let's start at the beginning. Now, again, let me disagree slightly. She's talking about the games industry. Somebody who plays her game responded politely. But that's how they spin it, right? On July 3rd, she wrote blah, blah, blah. We already know what she wrote. She followed up immediately by tweeting, the next rando asshat who attempts to explain the concept of branching dialogue to me, as if you know, having worked in a game narrative for a fucking decade, I have never heard of it, is getting insta-blocked. This is how your employee who uses your company on her Twitter to gain followers and gain clout is talking to customers. I'm not on the clock here. I'm not your emotional courtesan just because I'm a dev. Don't expect me to pretend to like you here. And the attempts of fans to exert ownership over personal lives and times are something I am hardcore about stopping. You don't own me, I don't owe you. Sounds like a real nice person. Fellow ArenaNet writer and part-time caper, Peter Freeze defended Price on Twitter with a short set of Twitter replies that have since been deleted. But are currently archived. Those tweets say nothing other than reiterating that they are personal Twitter accounts. Again, no, they're not. By this point, users were tweeting Price in their droves to argue against her comments, with a lot of ugly name-calling. And Durior, again, for his part, defended his initial tweets and backed out of the conversation. He never should have. He was entirely polite. Posts about Twitter Exchange and both writers had been created on Reddit and a thread in the official Guildwars 2 forum. In the latter, on July 5th, ArenaNet co-founder Mike Bryan posted to say both employees have been fired. Again. Just saying. Which is a failure, of course, to understand the context of the situation and stand by your employees. For further context, Jessica Price joined ArenaNet around a year ago, and people didn't like it, basically, because she had done things like, she's the type of person that literally tweeted out a celebratory tweet that Total Biscuit had died. Just saying. This is the type of person we're dealing with. ArenaNet's decision to fire both Prince and Freeze reinforces that standard that if you are a game developer and you are regularly patronized and harassed, then you should stay silent. No, that's not true. Don't double dip. If you want to have a personal Twitter, then do that. If you want to use your work, the games you work on, to build clout, then you give up that right and you no longer have a personal Twitter. If you speak out against the treatment or simply defend a colleague who is speaking out and asking to be treated with respect, again, she was asking to be treated with respect, then calls people asshats, right? This author literally wrote what she said and then completely ignored it. Is her calling people asshats treating them with respect? I'll treat you with respect when you treat me with respect. This is the rule that makes civilized interaction possible. Then that constitute attacks on the community, you will be fired because ArenaNet value the community more than the developers, no matter how that community acts. Well, they should honestly, they should value the community more than their developers because those developers aren't getting paid without the community. It's all fine and dandy to love your employees and love your developers, but when they cost you money, like she did, when they attack the community and the community rises up to say this is unacceptable, a company should value the customer more than their employee. That's how businesses survive. Even if you disagree with the tweets, ArenaNet's statement is poor. By stating that it was Price and Fry's tweets do not reflect the views of ArenaNet at all, they've written a blank check to Guildwars 2 players who believe they should, as Price put it, be able to exert ownership over the developers' personal lives. No, this is not true. Nobody said Price couldn't tweet about whatever she wanted. But when you attack the community and you attack your own community members who are providing polite feedback, you cost your boss money. That's how you get fired. Then saying when they are online, must always be polite, be collaborative. always be on. Price's Twitter mentions are currently a wall of gloating and abuse from the usual suspects who have just been told that their actions are justified. Yeah, I'm happy she got fired. Sorry. ArenaNet gave a follow-up statement to Eurogamer. We strive to cultivate an atmosphere of transparency around making our games and encouraging our teams to be involved in open, positive discussion with our community. Earlier this week, 2 of our employees failed to uphold our standards of communication with our players and fans. They are no longer with the company. This is good. Right? I've received official ArenaNet statement. It reads what I just wrote. ArenaNet has fired 2 writers ostensibly for their reactions to Twitter comments from partnered Guildwars to YouTuber. Again, his comments were nothing but polite. I want to be clear that the statements that they made do not reflect the views of ArenaNet at all. As a company, we strive to be collaborative relationship with the Guildwars community. We value your input. We make this game for you. The writers in question are Jessica Price, who had been with ArenaNet for nearly a year, and Peter Fries, who had been with them for more than 13 years. You throw away a 13-year career for Twitter elitism. I mean, that's sad. That's really sad. Can't help yourself, can you? Why fire them at all? Why not give them a warning first? Were Price's comments really so strong as to warrant automatic removal? Yes, I believe they were. Attacking the community directly turns people off. They don't want to play your game. They don't want to pay for your microtransactions. And, you know, when you're the type of person who is probably already on a mega short leash, when you do things like gloat about TB's death, I fully anticipate and support, or I fully expected them not to do anything. And I'm completely, overwhelmingly happy that they stood up for the community that pays their bills, and all companies should have a zero tolerance policy for their employees attacking the customers.